Hi guys, so I will be performing the poem Aloneness. Aloneness is different from loneliness. Loneliness means you want somebody. Loneliness means you have not planned to stay somewhere with other people gone. Loneliness never has a bright color. Perhaps it is gray. Loneliness does not have a lovely sound. It has an underbuzz. Or it does not have a sound. When it does not have a sound, I like it least of all. But aloneness is delicious. Sometimes aloneness is delicious. Once in a while, aloneness is delicious. Almost like a red small apple that is cold. An apple that is small and sweet and round and cold. And just for you. Or like loving a pond in the summer. There's soft water, looking a little silver dark and kind. You lean most carefully. And you like the single picture there. Rest is under your eyes and above your eyes, and your brain stops, it wrinkles, and it's peaceful as a wineless pond. You make presents to yourself, presents of clouds and sunshine, and the dandelions that are there. Aloneness is like that. Sometimes. Sometimes I think it's not possible to be alone. You are with you, and pause to nature keep you company. The little minutes are there, building into hours. The minutes that are bricks of days and years. I know another aloneness. Within it, there's someone to ask and tell. One who is Mary, Willie, John, or James, or Joan, whose other name is Love. So when I perform aloneness, I try to focus on the poem's reflective and thoughtful tone because I feel like this poem distinguishes between loneliness and aloneness. And it shows that loneliness can feel empty and uncomfortable, while aloneness can be peaceful and meaningful. And while reading it out loud, I slowed my pacing and emphasized certain words to highlight this kind of contrast. The quieter and more thoughtful moments in the poem required like a softer tone so that when I read it to you guys, you could feel the calmness of the poem. And then when I performed it, it also made me realize how important rhythm and pauses are in spoken word because they help the audience understand the emotional shift in between the poem. Now, the second poem I will perform for you guys is Audition. And right now, Sunday mornings at our house are full of music. Grandmama is singing. She says she's auditioning for the Heavenly Choir. The music of her voice gets us up and dressed and gets us fed and out the door. Grandmama is singing. Her voice as rich as cream, sure as tomorrow. I close my eyes and try not to let her see how her song moves me. Let her keep practicing. She is music, and I never want her song to end. So, as I feel like with the second poem, it has more of a warmer and also like a more lively, exciting feeling. And it just basically tells the story of a grandmother singing every Sunday as if she's auditioning for a heavenly choir. And when performing this poem, I try to bring some sort of energy and also warmth into my voice to reflect the admiration that I'm assuming it's a child or grandchild has for their grandmother. And the poem's rhythm and imagery also help create a strong storytelling moment, especially when they describe the grandmother's voice because of the way it fills the house. Performing this poem has also made me realize that a spoken word often is like storytelling when the performer helps bring the scene and emotions to life for the audience through using their words. From these poems and also our class, I've learned that spoken word performance requires attention to not to pacing, expression of the words, and also the vocal variation in terms of the tone of people speaking. I feel like emphasizing certain words, using pauses, and adjusting tone can make a poem feel more engaging and meaningful. And spoken word also connects strongly to the tradition of oral storytelling when storytellers use their voice and their presence to communicate ideas and emotions to a community. Um, I've also learned how storytelling and oral traditions play an important role in preserving culture and history. And I feel like this is more potent in the African and African American storytelling traditions, which are often performed using rhythm and audience words that connects well to the audience, and it shows how stories can be shared and remembered across generations without having to be in a history textbook. Another thing that I've also learned is the importance and also creativity in African American history and culture. History and culture, yes. Even in the face of oppression and discrimination, African American communities have continued to create powerful literature, music, and art that expresses identity, strength, and hope. And they also have used these creative artistry of theirs to make protests and protests against wrongdoings or just things in the country that are unfair and unjust without promoting violence or even regular normal traditional protests like that are nonviolent but going into the street. And one of the last things I also learned is how historical inequalities continue to shape experience today, because many of the things that we have studied, such as identity, justice, and representation, are still very relevant in modern society. So, learning about these histories help provide context for understanding ongoing conversations about equality and social change that we have been seeing. Um, Overall, I feel like this assignment and also our previous assignments have shown me how spoken word poetry connects performance, storytelling, and culture expression, and it helped me appreciate how voice and delivery can shape the way a poem is experienced by an audience. So, actually, one example of a creative response to injustice that stood out to me the most was the use of music and poetry to speak out against racism and violence. And the person that I did a project on is Billie Holiday and her performance of Strange Fruit, which describes the lynching of Black Americans in the South. The lyrics, Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, show how music was used to confront the reality of racial violence and force audiences to acknowledge it. And it what made this stand out to me so much was because it made me realize how art can communicate painful truths in a way that reaches people emotionally rather than just using the facts alone. She also used imagery in her words and the way she sung the song to create a lasting impact on the audience. And this reflects a larger tradition in African American culture where music, poetry, and storytelling is not only used for expression, but also as a form of protest and awareness to the community.